Hi, I'm Stan Goldstein with Kates-Boylston Publications. Today, I'm glad to be joined by Alan Creedy, the business advisor of Creedy Company. On Wednesday, February 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Alan will be hosting a webinar with us here at Kates-Boylston titled, How to Use Business Intelligence to Lead Your Business and Sleep Better. All right, Alan, tell us about Creedy Company and what you offer to your clients.
Stan, thank you for having me. Creedy Company as a formal organization was founded in 2008 for the purpose of helping funeral directors improve their business. I've been doing the consulting part since 1980, I guess. And I'm a former CPA specializing in funeral homes. And some people refer to me as a subject matter expert.
Okay. And that was led right into my next question. You've been doing this since 1980. What has changed and what has remained constant in funeral service over all those years?
Oh, we don't have enough time, but let me just make this point. When I started in funeral service back in 1980, funeral service offered what was referred to as a simple product. The only thing that the consumer needed to decide only had two decisions to make: what funeral home to use and what merchandise to buy. Everything else was dictated by society. Everybody knew, and society dictated what you did when somebody died. That's all gone, completely gone. So it's not just what funeral home do I use, what merchandise I buy. The question is, why should I have a funeral at all? And so the skill sets that funeral directors need to be successful has changed radically. And this is about the fifth time in our history since 1850 that we've had to go through this kind of transformation. So, for instance, Joseph Galler started out with a livery service and making coffins. 40 years later, he had to be a skilled embalmer, and he bought his caskets from a manufacturer. So it's changed. It's a whole different world.
Yep. And all right, let's talk about your webinar on February 21st. How to use business intelligence to lead your business and sleep better. Give us a little preview of that, what you'll be talking about.
Stan, I think most small business people take some degree of pride in being financially averse. In other words, they don't want to look at their financial statements. They're frustrated by their financial statements. They don't understand their financial statements. They don't know what it tells them they need to do. And I spent probably the first 20 years of my career in funeral service. In retrospect, I was attempting to turn funeral directors into accountants. And, it's a lot like watching a walrus ice skate. It's not real good, but you're impressed that you get to watch it. So I chose then to say, what is it that we need to do here? What is it that's going to help them? And I at first I reduced the things they needed to be aware of drastically. All right. And I'm going to talk about this on the webinar, but just 5 different things that they need to monitor. All right. Once they know those 5 things, they can begin to manage towards profitability, towards vitality. What's happened in the last 20 years, especially the last 10, is that software has been developed that really helps non-financial people relate to what's going on. And I've taken that software and I've used it to translate tabular data into a format that they can look at instantly and understand what's going on. So literally, I tell them, you are to be able to understand this at a glance. No, you don't need to study it. You need to understand it. If it's where it's supposed to be, go back to sleep. If it's not where it's supposed to be, it's in the negative or something, you need to be thinking about it. And if it's radically negative, you need to call someone, whether it's me or their accountant or whomever, it's a plan, but it's literally, what do I do? What's it mean? And how do I understand it? And the people that are using it are, for all intents and purposes, they're addicted.
Hmm. I was looking at your website before I did this talk with you today, and excellent website, funeralhomeconsulting.org.
Yeah.
And I see on there you have a blog, Creedy Commentary.
Yes.
What are things you have written about? What do you like to write about? And what may we see there in the future there?
You know, that's an interesting question, Stan. And I've given that some thought. What drives me is helping people think. And by that, I mean, with respect to your business, how should I be looking at things? What do I need to do? And so on. So helping people think is what I do. So sometimes I will write provocative things that make you think about what what it is, what choices you're making and why you're making them. And then other times I will write informative. For instance, some years ago, I wrote a series of articles uh, relative to casket merchandising. I don't know anything about casket merchandising, but there are, in fact, three formal, if you go to MBA school, three formal approaches to pricing. And so I talked about how those fit within casket merchandising. And a good example is I was in a selection room at that time that was one of the first to start using imported caskets. And he had a very, very simple markup strategy, extremely simple, one of the simplest I've ever seen. And so the result of that was, if you went from his lowest casket to his most expensive casket, the difference was less than $1,000.
Hmm.
And I had this visceral experience, which is absolutely what the textbooks tell you, that say, you know, I can afford anything in here I want, so I'll just pick out what I want. So it completely dissociated the price issue. Another pricing strategy is to price so excessively that people will begin to wonder what you offer. So those are pricing strategies and so I chose that. Other times I try to teach. Sometimes I'll have people, I'll write an article and say, you know, here's how you approach this. This is what, in fact, I publish free of charge probably 4 or 5 um, publications. They're not periodicals, but they're just explanations. So I have a publication that I provide for independent accountants to understand how funeral homes count and what the metrics are supposed to be, so they can help their clients better. I publish something for banks to explain what pre-need is. You know, I want to help the profession understand itself.
Also on your website, you have a funeral home value estimator. Tell us about that feature.
I produce that because sometimes people call me and they want to know what it's worth, but they don't want to go through the process of getting a formal valuation, which I do. Uh, and really, if you look at the process and understand the process, it's very much like pricing a commercial bond. All right. So what I did with the calculator is I reduced it to some what if statements, and I very boldly say, if you rely on this, you're an idiot. But it is a good thumbnail uh, approach to approximately what you might be worth.
I also like on your website, give it another plug, funeralhomeconsulting.org. You have this saying, you spent a lifetime pouring yourself out to others. You should have something to show for it. I help you finish well. How
Right.
much do you enjoy helping others to achieve that goal of
Well,
finishing?
just another plug. I published this book last year, to help people figure out their exit, and I give this away for free. If you send me you got on my website, you can order it, and I'll mail it to you. But the
Great.
point is here, I love helping people, and I think I would have made a good funeral director. I really, that's my deal, dude. And you know, nothing pleases me more than to have a client insist that I use them for a recommendation. And that happens, not all the time, but it does happen. And that's really where I get most of my business is through word of mouth. But if you look at funeral directors overall, and you look at the common personality traits, what you see is a group of people that literally do pour themselves out on behalf of their business and on behalf of their clients and on behalf of their community. And I just simply believe they deserve to finish well. And what I mean by finishing well is not just getting out, but I've got a client right now. We're in the process of selling his business. And I had a sit down with him yesterday and said, before we go any further, you need to decide what you're going to do afterwards, because I can tell that you need to be with people. He says, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm surprised you said that. My wife has been telling me the same thing. So I'm concerned with the whole picture. Yes, I get premium prices for you. Most brokers do, hopefully. But the truth of the matter is, and I've had people say this, I'm as concerned with fit as I am with price. So last year or 2 years ago, I had a client, he had an offer for 4 million and another offer for 4.2. He chose the 4 million because it was a better fit.
And tell us, away from business, what do you like to do in your free time, Alan?
I'm kind of a handyman. I work around the house. I'm a woodworker, wood turner. I read. I've got a beautiful wife and 7 grandchildren, so I don't have no trouble keeping myself busy.
That's good. All right, and again, how can people get in contact with you?
Well, they can call me at 919-280-1217, or my email is real simple, Alan, ALAN, at Alan Creedy, ALANCREEDY.org. Or they can go to my website and look on that.
Yep. And I recommend going to your website. It's very, very well done.
Thank you, Stan.
Okay. All right, Alan, thank you for joining us. And a
Oh,
reminder,
thank you.
you can register for Alan's February 21st webinar by going to AmericanFuneralDirector.com and clicking on the webinars tab. Again, thank you, Alan, and we'll see you on February 21st.
Thank you,
so
Stan.
much. Take care.